Welcome to Steve McDonald's Arts and Crafts. Now today's project is a funny one really. I'm doing this project purely because I'm curious to see what it's going to look like. Whenever I get leftover pieces of resin in pots and things, I never waste it. I always either put it in a steampunk mould or in a mosaic mould or in a mould that I can use. And I realise I've got lots of these pieces. And I want to try and cram this full of these pieces, pour some clear resin in it and see what it looks like. I'm going to overfill this to the point where I can put this base on it like that, which is another piece of steampunky stuff that I've made, so that when it all comes out of its mould, it's got a base as well. I am doing this for no other reason other than, actually, I'm just curious of what it's going to look like. So stick with me and let's see what it's going to look like. I'm going to be using the ×3 resin for this, and as you know, I really love this resin, and it actually does what it says on the pot as well. It's very good and very UV protecting, so when you're doing clear pieces, it's one of the best resins without a doubt to use. Well, I've sorted out all the cogs now that I want to put in here. Probably not all these are going to fit, and what I'm using is a pair of blunt nose tweezers here, but also my fingers and my thumbs, because I want to make sure I get these cogs into all the little nooks and crannies of this mould. And thank you to all the people that told me what the difference between a nook and a cranny was on one of my previous videos. I've used the expression for a long time, but never really knew what it meant. Again, what I'm also trying to do is vary the size and the colour of each one of these cogs that goes in there, because I do want it to have a bit of a variety, although you will see later on in the video that actually the darker cogs show up a lot more. The other thing is, I don't want to nip or scratch this mould on the inside, because that will affect the resin, and it'll also affect any future castings I do with this mould. Although this is not a great quality mould, I got it from Amazon. It's obviously a knockoff somewhere, and you'll see why it's not a great quality mould coming up as well. I just want to say an awesome thank you to all the brilliant and kind people who got me a coffee last month. Your names are coming up now. If it wasn't for people like yourselves, it would be very difficult to keep this channel going, so thank you again. So here I am putting in lots of them. I'm getting a little bit more robust in the way that I'm putting them in, as you can see here. And now I'm taking them out again because they're not in the right place. Again, thank you so much to all my members. I hope you've enjoyed the competition that we run recently and the Amazon vouchers as the prizes and all the additional perks. If you'd like to find out more about becoming a member, check out the description below and that will give you more information. So here we are, popping in these cogs again. They keep pinging out, and that is because this mould, like I said, isn't good quality. It's very soft, and it's also doesn't stand up very well on its own. So actually using these cogs in it will give it that little bit of extra support that it needs to be able to stand up on its own. The other thing that's important is to make sure that you get an even level of these ready for when you're pouring the resin. And when I'm pouring this resin in here, I'm pouring a little bit slowly because I don't want to introduce too many bubbles into this. I'm not putting it in a pressure pot. And then once I've got some resin in this, then that's when I'm going to start to do some squidgy widgy. Check out my other crafting channel. I do lots of upcycling and different bits and pieces and other crafts, and try out new crafts on there as well. It's really growing nicely. The link for that is in the description below. And also, I have a website where you can get some free downloads and a newsletter, and the link to my website is in the description below as well. I'd like to see you there. So pouring this out nice and slowly in here, and you will see at times bubbles pop up. Now, fortunately, even though this mould is a design, it doesn't have any real sharp areas where air bubbles will trap, but they will trap underneath and around these cogs, and that's why I'm giving it a really good squidgy widgy, even though this cog for some reason just doesn't want to stay in this top. I don't know why. Look, it's out again. Oh, back in. There we go. So pushing it with my thumbs, doing it some squidgy widgy in, and also tapping it. Tapping it really does help to get those bubbles dislodged. Pouring again, some more resin, and when I think I'm just about at the top of where this mould is, it kind of releases a little bit more air, and then I end up having to top it up again. Here we go. There's a big air bubble going to come up now, and it's about to pop, plop. And again, I will do some squidgy widgy. Put my final few cogs in this. I also have that larger one, which is going to be the base of this mould as well when it's taken out, so the casting. And that worked really well. And I will definitely be doing that going forward with quite a few of my different moulds where I want to have a base on them. And it saves me having to glue it on afterwards. So again, moving this around, so I'm getting it everywhere, filling it right to what I think is the top, and then allowing that to sit for a few more seconds, giving it a bit of a tap again, just to release any last minute bubbles. There are some coming up, so it needs topping up again. That's what I mean about it being full of air, and it needs a lot of topping up. And then placing that on the top. I did put a little bit of a weight on there to keep it down, and then I let it cure. Well, this is all cured up now, and this base is on here. I'm really excited about this project because I've made this project really for me because I wanted to make this. I'm not too sure about this mould because I'm not sure I've used this mould before, but it is an easy one to unwrap, and it's quite a sweet mould. It's two people that are hugging each other. I think the quality of the design isn't brilliant, but I do like the way that it's come out with all the pieces in it. The pieces have come out quite nice, and it is quite steampunky. I love the way the skull has got, but you can tell that this actual mould was made using a 3D printed cast, because inside this mould you can still see where the cast was done and the original moulding piece was built up. So I'm not sure I would recommend this mould for anybody because I don't think the quality of this mould is brilliant. I'm not sure if it's showing up on the camera. Let me have a look. Can you see there around the head? Well, that is marking that is inside that mould, those little rings, and I think that's where this mould has been originally. Look, there's some on the shoulder, and there's some here. So it's just been cheaply made, this mould, and brought in. But from a distance you can't see them, and I still quite like that. So let me know in the comments what you think of that. I do like the way that the base works on there, and that works quite well for a lot of moulds. I don't think I will be putting this in my don't use mould, or mould for possibly some concrete things, but I won't be using it for resin because it picks up those faulty details in there a little bit too much. Please boot the like button and leave me a comment, and if you'd like to buy me a coffee or get hold of anything that I have used today, then I will link everything in the description below. Take care, enjoy your resin, bye.